We're back. The things we know. And we're nearing what is the end of a very tough year. And clearly, we have not shied away from talking about any of that. But we would like to just like sort of inch our way back, like Weeble back. I love Weeble Wobbles. God, I loved
I
Weeble
know.
Wobbles when I was
That was
little.
my
Oh,
little 80s nod in there,
I
or
loved
70s. Could be
Weeble's
70s.
Wobble. Oh.
I know.
So we're going to try for just a hot minute to go back to a little lightness and optimism. And I am actually looking forward to this because it is something that's very important to you and I, especially as coaches, to really try to look at what is going well, despite
Yeah.
what is clearly not going well.
Yeah. And with like full disclosure, because we don't know how else to be, we also just recorded an episode like that was very WTF, right?
Right.
So it's also just like who we're trying to be, right? And I said, blue pill, red pill,
Yeah.
purple pill is how do you acknowledge everything and still like really genuinely not fake through, but like
Right.
genuinely find ways to celebrate.
Yeah.
So I came across this idea actually, like this idea a while back, and I think I threw it on there, and you were like, "What's this?" And it's this guy named Charlie Rocket. I don't follow him religiously. I don't know a ton about him, so come at me if he's not someone I should be following. But he calls it. It's this thing he like. From what I understand, from what I could gather, and I did just a teeny bit of like scrolling through and looking. He was really he's a music producer, is a really successful music producer, but he's really done a lot of rags to riches. He's one of those people who I think is a high risk person. And so
Mm,
he's been really down and out several times
okay.
with his health and with his, fortune and stuff. And I think like, this idea that he came across happened when like he really had no money like to even get himself a meal.
Mm.
So he calls this winning streak, and it has taken off. Like people on other podcasts show up with this tattoo winning streak. So I was
Huh.
like, what is this about? Right. It's the premise is that your streak starts the moment you name something that's going right, no matter how small. And when I saw a clip of Charlie talking about it, it was like, how lucky am I that this is the best cup of coffee ever? Or, like whatever it is, like it
Very
really was,
elf.
yes, very elf. Which I think is what he kind of reminded me a little bit of James Corden.
Okay.
If you look him up, you might agree. So I'll admit I rolled my eyes at first because I've been I think I came across it on a dark day. But then it just kept nudging me, especially in a year that's felt like one long stretch of trying to fix what's broken.
Mm,
So the more I thought about it, the more I realized I walk past evidence. You know, yes and no. I do some days, and other days I'm really good at reframing for other people, whether it's a coach or a mom or a partner, friend, whatever. But honestly, I miss a lot for myself, like moments that
mm,
count as wins in my like quest to constantly be catching up or doing things better.
mm.
I miss a lot of wins, you know?
Yeah,
So
no, I get that. I mean, obviously, it is such a huge part. I know we're going to talk about it as coaches in a little bit, but it's such a big part of what I do as a coach to really make sure that the women I work with notice those small wins and not just dismiss them as, and I always call it thank you next. But what I'm liking about this, and again, maybe because I'm grasping for straws, anything to make myself feel better. I really love this idea of trying to feel into it and make these moments have more weight. Because again, most of us don't do that. I feel like I'm pretty good. I feel like I've always been pretty good at noticing a moment when I feel happy. Like I love to really be like, "Ooh, this is a good moment. This is fun," you know? And because they are farther and fewer in between these days, like if I wake up and I'm in the middle of a workout and I get that little adrenaline rush that makes me feel happy, I even then I try to notice it because I realize that the next time I go on social media, I that might just totally be swiped away from me. Um, so I'm loving this already, like this idea of stop tracking just what's missing, and because that does sort of what you put your attention to. So it makes us believe
mhm.
that we're failing even if we aren't.
Yeah. And what I like about Charlie's idea is that it's never about pretending.
Mm.
Um, because I think fairly someone could accuse certain aspects of reframing and coaching as being that way, but I also think
Sure.
that works. Acting as if does work. So that's
Hmm.
maybe a whole other episode, and maybe we've covered that. But I would say it's about awareness. Like the streak starts when you stop waiting for life to be easy
Mm.
before you let yourself feel momentum. So it's a choice to name what's steady, what's showing up, what's actually good, right? And you hear it in a lot of ways. And like I'm pretty outspoken against like this being guilted into gratitude,
Yeah. Hmm.
phenomena. Like, well, what about a gratitude journal? It's like, fuck off. Yes, gratitude is heart opening. I'm big into that. However, when things are going badly, sometimes the easiest thing to do is just notice the little things and let them add up. This takes it a step further, I think. It helps you start to build momentum.
Yeah, I like that. I like the idea of noticing what's steady. It's not even just like what's going well, but what's not falling apart. I think that's an interesting addition to this. I also think that there's something you just said. I'm trying to think. Shoot, I had it and now it's gone. Um, yeah, it's gone. But I do like the idea of this isn't fake. This isn't about hype, right? It's about the direction we're moving into. The
Mm,
moment we notice what is working, our minds start to look for that more. Again, what we pay attention to, we gets more attention. So
mm,
when I'm noticing, I mean, this is going to sound like a funny example, but I take a supplement every morning that about a half hour after I've taken it, I actually feel this surge of like, and every morning I'm like, oh, there it is. It kicked in. And I love that moment every day. And every day I pay attention to it. Um, and
okay, I
then,
know you're not here to plug it, but if I were listening, I'd want to know. So
oh,
will you share with people
yes,
what
I
it is?
can. It's from Lavelle. It's called Thrive. And I've been
Okay.
taking it since 2016, and I take it every day. And the only time I couldn't take it was when I was having my surgery, and I missed it. I really,
Okay.
really, really missed it. Um, so there's that piece that I know every morning I'm going to get that little boop. But then
Mhm.
it's like, okay, now I'm thinking more of like, okay, so once I feel that, how can I find more of that?
Mm. I love
Interesting.
that. Yeah. The streak idea, the streak, we're all streaking. It reminds me of something like, I've been doing a lot of somatic work, like with
Yeah.
a therapist and also just really as a coach as well. And something I've been reading from Melanie Mishler, who's a manifestation teacher, she blends mindset with somatic work, which is basically helping people recognize progress in their bodies, which I
Mm.
love,
Yeah.
not just their thoughts, which was a lot of our training was
Yeah.
like, whatever we're talking about, where do you feel that in your body? Um, she says when we celebrate even the tiniest movement forward, our nervous system learns what safety and progress feel like. I
I
love
love
that. And
that.
that actually
Ah.
makes it easier to create more of it.
I just remembered what I was going to say. You
Oh,
said
good.
we wait for things to, instead of waiting for things to be easy. Immediately I thought, or obvious. I think
Mm,
and so this kind of goes into what you're just talking about with the somatic work is I think we look for obvious wins. And what if we looked for these little wins that we could then embody, which would then make it easier to find more wins, right?
yeah.
I mean, because this this isn't the Music Man. This isn't the think system. We can't just like think ourselves into calm or confidence. You do have to feel it. You do have to embody it. Or your brain is just like doesn't buy in, right?
Mm,
And so I do like this idea of a streak. Of course, Gen Z loves a good streak on Snapchat and
that's
all of
true.
those things, right? Um, but it is again, it's less about performance or performative and more about embodiment and owning it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just what I love about anything somatic is, and like it's healing, right?
Yeah.
Because if you've ever, whether or not you totally agree with the body keeps the score and that whole premise, like I don't think anyone disagrees that we're noticing how much our body holds trauma, but it can also hold joy. So I think that that's like it's teaching the body to register something other than fight or flight or threat or scarcity, right? When we start looking for evidence that things can work out, we're not being naive. I think that's why breath work is also really helpful, because when you
Hmm.
can like really feel expansion on an inhale, it's really helpful to like recognize what that feels like, and then and have an exhale not feel like losing but like releasing, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, I think we're retraining our systems to notice safety and possibility instead of danger and lack. And that's, I think, where the resilience comes from. Like the more you can practice with your, like, noticing with you, if you can with your brain call something a winning streak, like the littlest thing, you got my coffee order right, you wrote my name right, that's a winning streak, I'm winning, right? That feels silly individually, but as those things add up, you start to like
Right.
really notice what's going well.
Yeah, and it is just a noticing. It doesn't have to be, Charlie Sheen winning. Like it doesn't have to be that. I also, when you said your body also holds joy, it made me think like again, we're recording this close to well, the day before Halloween. And so right now in my Facebook memories is all the costumes over the years of the kids and of Darren and I. And with each one, I actually can take myself back to that moment of what we were wearing. And we did one came up yesterday because we used to go to this great Halloween party every year. I don't know if Jen Kenny listens to the pod, but shout out to the Kennys Halloween party. And they always had a theme. And one year it was heroes and villains, and Darren went as James Bond, and I went as the woman from Hunger Games, not Katniss, the bad
Yeah.
one with the big pink hair. I can't think of her name now, and I just saw that one yesterday. And so again, when you talk about your body holds joy, when you have memories like that, when you see a picture, we just did a bit of this at the retreat. This idea of going back and trying to remember a time when you felt happy, so that you can kind of fill yourself up with that, and be in sort of a sage brain. I think I think we're too dismissive of that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I agree. Yeah.
Again, we look for these big, loud, obvious moments, but what if those little quiet ones, those fun Halloween parties, those whatever it is, like you said, a good cup of coffee, a nice
Mm-hmm.
glass of wine, what if those are the things that actually make winning and joy sustainable?
Mm. I used to have a mentor that said a successful life is really a string of successful days.
Mm,
Like that's really it. Like, success in life is just, and like when she broke that down more, it wasn't about, making a ton of money or winning something or earning something. It was really about like adding up small successes that
yeah,
build momentum. So yeah, I think that's what's really important here is like what you're saying is the streak isn't your highlight reel. It isn't like all the things that went well this year. It is like in a big way, like the things that
right.
the society measures. Got the job, got a scholarship, got like it is things went your way. You were
Mm,
way more attuned to blessings or like really good, you know, really good energy or beautiful weather or like all that stuff that kind of helped shape how your energy responded to it versus like letting it dictate it. So it's a small steady rhythm of staying awake to what's real and good.
I'm smiling to myself because when we sat down today to record, I had not gotten the script for this one yet, so all I had was the script for WTF. And you were like, "Should we do this one first or WTF first?" And you're like, "Maybe we should do this one to make ourselves feel better." I honestly do. Like sitting and
Good.
time about. So I think this is this in this moment, I am having that experience of when you focus on what's going well, you feel better. And that is the trick, right? Holding on to it when life is not playing along. We were talking about what's happening outside of our four walls, but a lot of times what's bringing us down is happening within our own households, things that are sad or that we're grieving or that are hard. And so those can be the times where the idea of winning, quote unquote, can feel laughable or eye rolly or whatever. But like when somebody says, "Oh, I don't want to talk today," or you and I both had this, "I don't feel like coaching today." Well, that's probably when you need it the most. being able to
Mm.
attack, figure out something that is going well, even if it is the sky is blue or the sun is out, is most important on those days where it feels like life's not playing along.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, you're if you talk about the day I'm having today,
Yeah.
I
Yep.
I don't have a caregiver that's available. Griffin's in the middle of a seizure cluster. We had to pause in the middle of our last recording, and yet, like, he's safe.
Yep.
I we can pause, and like that doesn't really disrupt what we're doing.
Yep.
There's a lot, like, there's a lot of ways that I've gotten better at responding to these, and we've been able to keep him safer from injury and things like that. So that probably sounds like a real stretch, but honestly, like, I
But
can
that's
have
it,
days like
right?
this where I feel really, really depressed and isolated for him, like isolated and depressed for both of us. And then other days where I'm like, I'm very lucky in a lot of ways, and he's safe right now. You know,
Yeah.
if I have to work, so if I had to leave the house to work and we didn't have a caregiver show up, that would be so stressful. And
Right.
anyway, like that I can respond with warmth and support and compassion to the caregiver who's having a lot of trouble with transportation today, instead of like, it's like my ability to respond to it also feels lucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's interesting, it's like where that mindset becomes essential. I really could imagine someone listening to this going, what the fuck? You don't know my life though. So, but like, I accept that. That's fine. This
Yep.
isn't a reward for good times. It isn't. It is literally the lifeline that pulls me through the hard ones.
Yep.
That's why I lean on humor so much. Lisa and I are big fans of gallows humor. I think, like, I know someone right now who has gone through like a level of abuse from a former spouse through the courts that you would not believe. Hasn't seen her kids in 300 days or something like that.
Mm.
And she had full custody, and there's no reason he should have full custody, but like he has won the manipulation game. And she, among many other things, is this like fabulous hoop, like she's like a performer. She does stuff with hoops like in ways you've never seen before.
Huh.
And she like did a funny video about how like going into court is like being a circus performer. And I'm sure people were like, how are you doing that? Your life sucks right now. Like, she is doing it to like stay alive. Like, she just
Sure.
is like thanking people for support, for getting on live during her hearing. And she just like did that video because she's got time. She still doesn't have her kids back.
Mm.
And I just think, like, yeah, the mindset becomes so essential for survival. So even in grief or exhaustion, there's something holding, like a friend's text, a morning that feels slightly lighter. I think like the color of the leaves right now in Portland. I just got back from visiting my youngest in Vermont. I came back. I'm like, it's just as pretty here. Um, just the way someone shows up for you. Realizing like there is food to eat when you're like too exhausted to think about making something else. Like the streak, I think survives because it's about attention. It's not about circumstance. What you're paying attention to is really what this is all about.
Yeah, 100%. And it does like give you permission to start again, right? So you can fall off completely. You can completely fall down a rabbit hole of what's going wrong. And then you get to for days. We don't recommend it, but you and I both have done it. I mean, there's no question that there are just days upon days sometimes for us. But then you notice that one thing you just showed me before we started recording a beautiful branch that you just brought
Yeah.
in, you know. Um, just that one thing. There it is, if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify. Um, just noticing that one thing just then gets you back on that train. And there's no penalty box for not being on it for however long.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. I know, right? I think too, it is because it captivated me in a dark moment. Like,
Mm.
it is a invitation to community when like you want to be
Mm.
part of something like that. Like the fact that some young people who were feeling really like suicidal heard him say this, and they are now like part of
Mm.
their own movement, and they have his words tattooed. Like, just reading those stories and hearing about that and realizing, wow, it can sound so simple and trite, but truly how each person embodies that and decides to look at everything. I mean, that's something we work on as coaches. Like, how can you see everything unfolding for you? And when you're not ready for that, that just sounds ridiculous.
That's right.
And that's
Yeah.
okay. And that's okay. But when you're ready to like really look at things that way with a new perspective of what if things were working out for me? How did I get this lucky? To like it really, I like that. It just feels
Yeah.
healing. It's like the momentum isn't lost.
Right.
Um, I don't know. It's waiting to be picked up again. And yeah, I think it's not about achievement.
Right. It is, and it is about giving yourself grace for
Right.
sure. Um, and optimism, even though we just talked about hope versus optimism in WTF a couple of weeks ago, uh, in this moment, in this way, in the way we're speaking of this, it is a bit of optimism, right? And again, optimism is different than hope, but it becomes contagious. So if I mean, I know that, right? Like you and I talk about this often. We're alone, we're by ourselves on a Thursday, and then we get on this Zoom and we instantly start to feel better, and that bounces even over Zoom, that bounces off each other. If I see you having a good day or vice versa, now I'm going to remember, oh, well, this went well for me too, or you might, or I could point something out, and then it makes you pay attention and keep going forward. It is contagious, this idea of a streak, which is probably why Gen
Mm.
Z loves it.
Yeah, I do. It's funny because I can't, I think but like honestly, not every week, maybe once a month, things could be challenging. And I might
Hmm.
be like, oh, I don't feel like doing this, but then I do it. And I'm like, this is so much, like
Right.
I feel so much better. Whatever the doing is, whatever this is, whether it's recording the pod or coaching someone or like doing anything I need to do. And every time I do anything that engages, especially with you or this work, like I feel so happy that I did it. So it's definitely contagious.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing to remember. We're going to talk about the coaching space here in a second, but I mean, there are often days where I typically start coaching around 10 in the morning, and so lots can go wrong. I can see lots of crap in between the time I wake up and the time I start coaching, and oftentimes I think to myself, God, I wish I didn't have to coach today. And the minute I get on that call, all of that goes away. So and I think it is because for us, we work with women who, you know, they carry so much responsibility, they put in so much effort, but they do not really allow themselves permission to feel proud. And you and I both start all of our coaching with what's something you're proud of today? What's something you're celebrating? So I think that alone, right? Like if I'm not feeling great, but I get on a coaching call and I say, okay, what are you celebrating today? Right off the bat, not only are they in a better space, but I'm in a better space because I get to witness that.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And whether it's true or not, and when I say true, I don't mean anyone's lying. I just think sometimes we can all get invested in a story we're telling ourselves. There is a feeling most of our clients come with that they're constantly asked to do more, fix more,
Yeah.
improve more. I can get caught up in that too. Like, I'm behind, I'm behind. Like, according to whom? Like, you
Right.
work for
Right.
yourself.
Right.
So celebration doesn't come naturally for high achieving women or any woman I know, really. So when we don't name what's working, we forget that growth is already happening. It's one of my favorite things in coaching, though, is to like be in one of those places where we do a little bit of future pacing about what you want, what you desire, and what's going to make that possible. And then I ask them to come back to present and say, what is this better than? And when they realize that, when they realize how far they've come and they didn't realize they're just stuck still, they are way farther than they realized they were. I think that that's really helpful. So when we don't name it, we forget it, right? So I think this idea, like an actual personal winning streak, is a fun way to open a coaching call. I might try that. Like, how are you winning? Where are you winning?
Yeah, I was
I
thinking
think
that
it could
too.
change how they measure progress.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Or when you said the thing about future pacing, one of the things I love sometimes about future pacing is, you're future pacing 6 months, a year. And then when I bring them back, it's like, and look at what you're already doing to get there, right? So there's those small wins because you think, oh, well, I'm looking at a year, this is what I want. Well, you're all the reason that's what you want is because you're already working towards it. So this idea of collecting small wins, starting to believe that you're capable again, actually having proof that you're capable again, that's really when the transformation starts to take root. It's not when they
Yeah.
try something new again, but it's when they start to understand that everything that they're doing is already working. I just had this conversation with a woman who I she won a session with me, and she came in
Mhm.
hot with all the things that wasn't going right. And I was like, I've only known you for like 15 minutes, but I see A, B, C, D, E. And she was like,
Mhm.
oh, right. That's why coaches need coaches.
That's true. It's so much easier to look at someone else's winning streak than your own.
Totally. Totally.
I think that's like what's at the core is this trust in yourself. It's building trust
Mm,
in yourself. Like, you know, like there's ways in habit coaching where we're like, if you could set small goals and show up for yourself, you build integrity with yourself. And I
totally.
think this is building trust with yourself, trust that you
Mm,
can accomplish things, that you can win, that you can like make progress, because progress equals happiness. It gives you something to like measure, right? So it's
yeah.
remembering that we've already survived so much and we still have capacity to do more, like create more or have like experience more. I mean, I do think more is an interesting word because I'm definitely guilty of this, but like I've been having this conversation with a lot of clients lately. More doesn't necessarily mean productivity. It could be more rest. It could
Yeah.
be more presence. It could
Hmm.
be more peace. So, you know, I want to be careful when I say that. I don't mean like you're gonna, you know, join more committees and dazzle and shine. I'm
Take
actually
more
really against that
classes.
at this stage. Do
Yeah.
less, feel more.
Yeah, and I think the idea too is when you're sitting in a place of knowing what's going well, it also is a place of abundance versus lack. And when you're in abundance, you've got access to creativity and flexibility in a way that you do not have when you're only focusing on what's going wrong. And again, depending on how you are currently feeling as you are listening to this episode, you might just be like, you know what, Kari and Lisa, you can fuck all the way off.
Yeah.
However, and okay, totally fair. That being said, it is actually pretty simple to focus on just one thing. You do not have to have some big binder or journal system or blah, blah, blah to just mentally take a breath and notice one thing right in this moment that is going well and just call it a win. Even if you've never called that thing a win ever, ever, ever before, just let yourself call it a win.
We give you and ourselves permission to see yourself as like see any of it as movement, right? Even in
Yeah.
stillness, movement, a shift, tiniest shift.
Yeah, and this isn't, I am not a big fan of the word lucky, although there are times that I feel lucky for sure. But a winning streak isn't about luck or delusion or again, faking it till you make it. It's about, as you said, trust, but also attention, mindfulness in that moment.
Yeah. I like it because it's like life can feel a little like on days like this for me, I could get
Hmm.
really lost in emotion or stress or even fatigue. You know, I did
Yeah.
not sleep well last night. And I think it like looking at where there are wins is a way of saying I'm still here. It's like finding myself on a map, right? I'm still here. I'm still noticing. I'm still finding proof of life.
Yeah.
And you know, there are it's it is we didn't come to this easily in my family, but we have a lot of wisdom and grace we stumbled upon because of everything we've been through.
Mm,
And I hear it sometimes with my kids talking to their friends, or I hear it like just in my kids, you know, kind of recognizing things. But like in some of our saddest, hardest moments, and oftentimes Griffin is the one who verbalizes it. Like we can always find something that makes us feel really lucky, and
mm,
that's so helpful. Now, it's not like automatic, and it's not forced ever. It's not automatic. And for some, like, maybe 3 out of 4 of us kind of, or 3 out of 5 of us, got there on some of it. So I'm not just saying it's like, it's just no matter what now, no matter what happens, that's not true. Each
Right.
thing is a new thing, a new hill to climb. But I will say that proof of life, like, that proof of life, that proof of love, that proof of
Mm,
humor, and like reasons to still like look forward to stuff.
yeah.
um it does happen if you get enough practice at it.
Well, and that's it, right? This is like many of the things we talk about. This is about practice. This isn't just because you listen. Maybe you're listening to this, you're like, this is fantastic. I'm going to do it right now. It's going to take practice because on those days where it's hard, it might be hard to get to pull yourself out for that proof of life. But when you do, that's what keeps momentum alive. Again, it's not these big leaps. It's just this steady willingness to keep looking for the wins.
So if we can all agree we're on a streak,
Woo!
let's just stay committed to noticing it. What is your winning streak?
Mm,
Everybody's One thing we always heard a lot in our training was the bigger the transformation, the slower the pace.
yeah,
However, that pace is still going, like it's still going in some direction.
yeah. And so, that might just be the win today that you've listened to this, or it could be our song.
Oh my gosh.
I always love it. You're like, you put notes like, haha, maybe. But of course, we're going to use All I Do Is Win by DJ Khaled. So all I do is win, 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 no matter what. What? I got
Money
money
on
on
my mind.
my mind. I can never get enough. And every time I step up to the building, everybody's hands go up and they stay there.
It's so good. I'm
They stay
I'm
there.
endlessly amused by anyone who sings their name in all their songs. And so that just gives me joy.
I mean,
I've
that's talk
always
about
been
it.
amused
That
by
is a
that.
song that will always get everybody out on the dance floor. I mean, yeah, I immediately when you put that on there, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about. Oh, this is going on some playlists. Like I need this on some playlists
It
just for
just
joy.
physically backed up because I'm always winning at the bigger head here. I get really close and excited, and then I'm like, I'm not helping my feeling that my head's too big by sitting so close.
And
I'm gonna
I
sit
keep
back
trying
and
to lean in to help, but I'm like, if I lean in, then I'm like, all right,
no.
that's our issue.
Yes.
I hope you guys listening to this are in a space to take this on, and if not today, maybe come back to this episode when you are feeling a little lighter and listen again, or even better, share this with somebody who might be in the space, rightly or wrongly, of, not a lot's going well right now. That's a fair assessment. And also how it doesn't serve to sit there. It doesn't serve to sit there. So please feel free to share this with anyone you know and/or tag it for yourself to come back and listen to it another time.
Love this.
Thanks, everyone. We'll be back next week.
Bye.